Hi there, this is Don Mill and I'm making this video entitled How to Make Sure Fold 3 World War II Fallen Stories Can Be Read on Smartphones. The mission of Stories Behind the Stars is to tell the stories of all 421,000 U.S. World War II fallen, and we're doing this by saving them all into a common database. Once they're in the common database, it's possible by using a smartphone app to read the story anytime you're at a gravesite or a memorial. Right now, the smartphone option is one where you have to type in the name. At some point in the future, we hope it'll be possible for you to not have to type in the name, but just be close to the cemetery or memorial, and the name will appear on the smartphone. And this is possible from the geolocation feature that is already available but just hasn't been activated on these smartphone apps. And this is possible because the FindAGrave smartphone app already has a geocode embedded in it. It just hasn't been turned on for this feature. Ultimately, what we hope will be possible is that you'll be able to go to any cemetery or memorial and use the app with the camera feature to just scan the name of the person. I also want everyone to know that right now there is an alternative app by Together We Serve that works on all stories that are saved on Together We Served, but not on Fold 3. All the Together We Serve stories, as you probably know, are automatically saved to Fold 3, so all of those are available on the FindAGrave app. There's been a couple of past instructions that right now may or may not work. They may work, but they may not work. And those are to save the URL of the FindAGrave page on the Stories tab, or save the URL of the FindAGrave story on the Sources tab. If it works, that's great, but if it's not working, the purpose of this video is to show you what steps you need to take so that you can get the FindAGrave page to link to the Fold 3 memorial. Let's say that you've written a story and you've saved it to Fold 3. The key step at this point is to look on the FindAGrave page and see if there is a little button down here that says Fold 3 Memorial Page. If that is there, then you're done. There's nothing more you need to do. That memorial is linked to FindAGrave and it's going to work with the FindAGrave smartphone app. I'm going to show you how to add the FindAGrave URL to the Fold 3 Facts tab. Here's the memorial of Benjamin A. Taylor. He has a story. The story does not include the FindAGrave URL. On the sources, it also does not include the FindAGrave URL. I'm going to go to his FindAGrave page, and I'm just going to copy the URL right here, and I'm going to be on the Facts tab. I'm going to press Add, and as you can see in the prompt here, it says enter a Fold 3 Newspapers Archives or FindAGrave document. So I'm going to copy the URL there and press Import from FindAGrave document. And see, it's going to prompt me to include information that came from the FindAGrave document. If I didn't want to add that, I would leave it out, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that in. I press Save. Now you can see here in this corner that it shows the FindAGrave link. Originally, the FindAGrave link did not have the button showing that it's connected to the Fold 3 memorial. Now, if you try it, here it is, Fold 3 memorial page, and if you were to click this, here we're on a computer, but it also works on the smartphone app. Clicking that takes you to the Benjamin A. Taylor Memorial on Fold 3. So that's how you add the FindAGrave URL to the Fold 3 Facts tab. Now I'm going to show you how sometimes you'll see a FindAGrave prompt on the Fold 3 Facts tab. Here's the memorial page for Owen W. Sutton. As you can see, there's a story here. It doesn't have the link to the FindAGrave page. If you look on the Sources tab, it doesn't have the link to the FindAGrave page. but it's still showing that there's a possible record from FindAGrave. So perhaps Fold 3 had already identified this as a possible link. If we press review, it's going to show the possible burial records for Owen Sutton. The one we're looking for is the one here at the top. Let's review the FindAGrave memorial. Okay, this is his memorial. It doesn't show the button that links it to Fold 3 at this point. We're going to press Add Record. If we didn't want to include some of this information, we could have clicked these buttons to take it off, but we're going to leave them the way it is. We're going to press Save. Now you can see that this record's been linked. If I scroll down, you can see this is here when it wasn't before. This will now work with the FindAGrave app. I wanted to address one more item, adding Fallen to 2 or more FindAGrave pages. This is necessary because sometimes an individual, especially if they're well known, can be on multiple memorials. Their name can perhaps be on a common grave. They can have a cenotaph that's separate. So it's good to add all of the FindAGrave URLs to the Fold 3 memorial for that story. Let's look at an example. This is a story for Mervyn Sharp Benyon, and if you were to do a search for him on FindAGrave, you would see he has 2 memorials, and that's because his gravesite is in the Salt Lake City Cemetery, but there's also a plaque that he has in Memory Grove Memorial, also in Salt Lake. So if you wanted the FindAGrave app to work in both locations, you would have to be able to link both of them to the Fold 3 memorial. Here we have a possible link, so let's review this. And you can see that it's showing both of his FindAGrave pages. So we're going to press Add Record. Let's do his actual cemetery first. And it's adding this information, so we'll press Save. Now let's see if we can add his second FindAGrave page. Copy the URL. We're going to put it in there. Import. And even though some of these are repeats, we're going to leave them in for now. I've been told that that's part of how the link works, is it has to have information that's being transferred over. So we'll press Save. And now you can see both memorials are tied, and if you click on this one, there's a link right there. So if you go visit his memorial at Memory Grove Memorial, you'll be able to also read his story there. One thing specifically about stories being saved to Together We Serve to see if they work on the FindAGrave app, they're not transferred over to Fold 3 instantaneously. So I would suggest you maybe give it a week, go back and look on the Fold 3 page and see if you have a link that goes to the FindAGrave page. If you don't, you can use the information in this video to add that link. One follow-up item, some of you have written many stories, and so as you have time, it would be great if you could go back and look at your stories on Fold 3 and see if they have that FindAGrave link, that little button right there that links back to your story. It's great that your stories are there on Fold 3, but unless we have that link to FindAGrave, the main place that people can read your stories at memorials or grave sites isn't going to happen. And that's why we're making this video, is to show you how to do that. I'd like to thank everyone watching this video. You've been writing stories about the World War II fallen, and you're making it possible by adding this feature of linking the Fold 3 story to the FindAGrave page, so that when people visit grave sites of World War II fallen anywhere in the country or even across the seas, those stories are going to be read for decades to come. Thank you so much for your participation in this wonderful project.